Columbia at the time was in its infancy. And as a matter of fact, there wasn't even any road outside of this campus. We had a dairy farm next door where the cows were still coming over on the college's property. And but I welcomed, I knew about Columbia. I knew what the initial concepts were, and I was very impressed with them, and I thought it'd be a wonderful idea to come here and start a new community college based on this new planned city of Columbia. When I came here, my office was in the Board of Education, and I had no staff, and I had to start and begin hiring a secretary and some of the other professionals as the college is emerging on the scene. And that's quite a while ago. It was a real challenge. At that time, we were trying to embark upon a new educational program for students. We didn't want faculty, we didn't want teachers. What we were looking for were directors of learners, people who would help students develop according to their own talents. That was a real job. Students would have an explicit idea of what they're able to learn, because in all of my education, as well as what was contemporary, is that the students were given a textbook selected by the faculty member and said, "That's what I want you to know." Well, how in the world are you going to know that? If you got a 1,000-page book, you're supposed to know all the words in it or all the ideas in it. And it seemed to me not a very good way. And I don't think it's a good way today, too, because I still think this exists. And so we were trying to develop a program whereby students would know what the faculty wanted them to learn. It's as simple as that. And we developed a systematic program based upon terminal performance specifications so that students would say, "Oh, I need to know this," and they could then be tested on whether they did know that. And that's what it was all about. Well, you know, we had one building. It was one building campus, and we tried to, that had to serve all purposes. But it wouldn't be unusual to have people look out in the parking lot and find cows there. Or I remember once when shortly after we opened up, we had a parking lot, but it wasn't finished. The construction crews had dumped about 4 inches of gravel on the parking lot, but after the first rain, the cars couldn't get through. They sank up to their hubcaps in mud. It was crazy. The next building was the Nursing Education Building, which we were fortunate to have. It was based upon Professor Hallinan's efforts. She wrote a grant that was twice, maybe 3 times turned down, but we pursued it. And we finally got that building, much to the chagrin of maybe some of the state officials. We were fortunate to have the good support of local politicians that helped us enormously, and statewide and federal politicians who helped immensely. And so we got that building, and the rest came along with the tremendous growth in enrollments. I'm glad to see that this has continued. You have a real nice campus here now. It's a real good educational environment. Before the first day of classes, I think which were Monday, if I remember correctly, on Sunday, the faculty were here along with the administrators swabbing down the classroom floors because we're going to open the next day, and construction had just barely completed. It was really funny. But they prove amply talented in swabbing floors too. The fact that the college opened, it was able to recruit students, get over some of the problems that existed, and eventually became recognized for some of the quality programs that it had. I think that's a great achievement. The conversation I had with Jim Rouse after I came here, I went to his office. The purpose of my visit going to his office was to ask him for some money for student scholarships. At the time, Rouse Company was undergoing some very difficult times, but nonetheless, he was very charitable. But he told me at the time that he did support the community college, and he thought it was a wonderful asset to this county and to Columbia. And he appreciated all the things that were going on because they lived up to his expectations. And he thought it was a wonderful institution. And I always thought that he was supportive of education, not only the community college, but also K through 12. He really did a lot. And indeed, the fact that we were able to have this campus here was because of his efforts. And I always supported Jim Rouse because I realized that his thinking is something that had an impact upon this whole community, but more importantly upon the individuals who lived within the community. And Columbia certainly bears that out.